I wanted to ask you sort of your notion, what you hope to achieve with the series, um, with the initiative that Dish is very involved with in driving for a more open, interoperable, addressable world. Uh, what's the agenda here? What do you hope to accomplish?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I think it's probably best to maybe take a step back and understand what's going on and what prompted us to do this. There is a tremendous amount of momentum in the marketplace today around addressable. You know, the 2 minutes has been around for several years, and that continues to evolve. And there's developments there, and then there's a lot of development happening around the National Minute Initiative. And what's also super fascinating is the amount of competition that's healthy competition that's in play. If you look at the peers that are competing on the distributor side, we're all trying to get there. When you look at the competition on the programmer side, they are all trying to get there, and the same is holds true in the tech space as well as in the measurement space. So it's a super exciting time in terms of momentum. I also think that the need is still there, right? The need for greater accountability, data driven, measurable media is stronger now than it's ever been. And also I think just the amount of change that we've seen in the last 12 months, and our industry has had a ton of change in the last few years, but a lot of that has been accelerated by COVID. So I think the confluence of those factors have led us to say, okay, the time is now. The time is now to step up. And at Dish, we're not the biggest player, but we like to be the catalyst. And our goal here is to act as the catalyst to get the industry to focus and to focus on what matters most, and to get everybody marching in the same direction. So that's the first goal. And then the second goal is to pull together who we think will be a really strong collection of individuals that range from advertiser to partner, peer, in terms of who we compete against and who we work with, as well as agency. And we want to know from them what matters to them, what they think is important, and what they think needs to change or needs to evolve. So our goal again is to bring to the forefront clarity around what the biggest priorities are for not only for Dish but everybody in the addressable space, so that we can lock arms as we hit 2021 and keep bringing what the industry does want, and keep evolving to a world of better data driven advertising.
So, what is the sort of practical outcome, in your opinion, of sort of this initiative over the next 12 months? What do you hope to accomplish over through this process?
I think there's two perspectives. I think there's our perspective and what we need to do, and then what the industry or others need to do. And I'll start with our perspective. For us, addressable has been incredibly successful. It's been a very strong growing line of business, not only for us, but for everybody that participates in the space. And it's been doing that for a reason. Now that has primarily focused on the 2 minutes of addressable that distributors have. And now we're at the dawn of enabling the national minutes for programmers. And that's happening. So in 2020, we set a goal that we were going to have our feet in the water, and that we did. We have a couple initiatives that are in process that are working, which we're super excited about. So from our point of view, what we want to know is what are the biggest priorities, and what are the biggest hurdles that we need to get over and that we need to solve for, and then we're going to put those at the top of our list and keep marching forward. And then I think from others in the industry, and again, it really ranges. There are a handful of tech players that are helping solve and evolve. There are programmers that are figuring out how to enable for their minutes. There are other distributors and measurement. So I think each constituent should have, or we all should probably have the same North Stars, right? And I think at the end of this project, if we can have two, three, four North Stars that we're collectively marching towards, I think that's going to make a big difference.
Kevin, I know part of what you guys are doing is a big research project with Forrester that we'll be learning about early next year. Tell us a little bit about what your goal there and sort of the process and what you're hoping to find out.
Yeah, well, I have high regard for Forrester and the work that they do, and I think it's important to note that this isn't we're leading the charge, but we're working with a half a dozen other partners and peers in the addressable space, and so this is really an industry initiative, and we thought that it would make a lot of sense to use a neutral, highly regarded third party like Forrester to tell us go into the market, do their research, and tell us what matters and what the hurdles are, so that we can have an objective third party deliver that priority list to us. So the goal is for Forrester to dig in and to talk to a whole host of client side, agency side partners, and to get feedback and to sort of curate that feedback to tell us, the participants, and anybody else who wants to follow what they're saying, as to what the biggest issues and goals and objectives are for those that participate in addressable advertising. And that should wrap up in January. It's underway. We're super excited about it. But again, I think that is going to help us, in addition to the speakers that we have in the series. That research is going to help us identify those, 3 or 4 North Stars that I mentioned earlier.
Kevin, finally, it's been a crazy, difficult year, a year of transition. I'm grateful we're in this space and not some other industries. A lot of learnings, a lot of acceleration that's been going on in terms of the advanced TV world that we've been involved with in all these years. Maybe you could share some takeaways about what's happened this year and how it's changed, the whole notion of advanced TV and where it kind of puts us for the new year.
I think everybody has been on this roller coaster, and from our point of view, it really has been about just dig in and keep working hard and stay connected with your clients and understand what's happening from their side and just be prepared and for whatever may come. And we're very fortunate that we have this balanced portfolio in Dish, Linear, and Sling OTT. Those markets were very different coming out of COVID, even in COVID. I also we're very fortunate that I know it's been a crazy political year, but it was a very, very strong political advertising year, and I think those that had a stake in that game benefited and it helped the recovery. But I think if we step back and we look at the positives, and by the way, the negatives of COVID, obviously we all want to stay safe and stay healthy, and we want our markets to get back and people's jobs to come back and all those things like that. We can't lose sight of that. But I think from a media point of view, the negatives of COVID kind of outlined, I think, and anybody's business, like what your true weaknesses are. And so we took that as a half full, glass half full, and we looked at those weaknesses and we're addressing them. We're like, okay, we got to get stronger here because we've just been shown that it's not as strong as we would like it to be. But the positives, I think, for COVID is, I'd say the number one, which leads us to, one of the themes that we have in our series is all about being open. We're big proponents of open, and open from our point of view is going to be key to success, not only in addressable, but in this sort of fragmented media market going forward. And it's interoperability. There isn't going to be one central technology that everyone is going to use. So you have to have you have to be interoperable, and you have to plug in as a supply side, as a publisher side. It's our obligation to plug into tech and platform that our clients select. So interoperability is really important. And another one is transparency. In today's day and age, you have to be transparent. The buy side needs to know on the planning, in the planning stage, what they're buying or what they're planning to buy, and then on the execution reporting stage, what did they buy? That is super, super important. And then the third, which goes back to what we've learned most in COVID, is accountability. I haven't met a marketer in the last 6 to 9 months, or an agency lead in the last 6 to 9 months that isn't concerned about or has it at the top of their priority list that I need to know what the impact is of the dollar that I just spent. And I think accountability is really, really important going forward. It's one of the core pillars of our open approach. And I think that has fueled the fire for data-driven, addressable advertising. And that is a positive that has come out of the COVID situation.